Just a short clip here to let people know that I have been on with Chris Rice before on Rice TV, and we're planning on doing another episode coming up. We're probably going to film it this coming week. And the next couple weeks, he will upload it onto YouTube. And just to let people know, the first interview I did with him was just introductory. It was kind of to get to know each other and what we were all about, and where we stood on different issues. And with this next episode that we do is going to be more into details regarding like what I've done and things like that. When I first started researching things, I really wanted to know what the nexus was between, say, for instance, ourselves and the state. All right, to me, that was what was important. And I saw a lot of other gurus out there teaching different things. I mean, I've got to give a hat tip to people like Kurt Kallenbach and Clint Richardson. I really recommend people research them. And I grabbed a lot of nuggets from some of these people. But at the same time, I decided that I wanted to go and look into what some of the attorneys and judges and some of these other officials, not only in the U.S., but, across the world we're talking about, with each other. Not what they were saying to the peasants, but what they were saying to each other. Because I know they're not going to lie to each other, because they all know the truth. And when I did that, I remember I was doing a lot of research on UCC, because a lot of people were talking about UCC. And so I was looking into that, and I was looking at where they were talking to each other at, and what they were saying to each other and describing it, and what it was really about. And one of the first things that turned me on to where to look at the truth at was from who had been Judge William Hillman. And he was talking about how actually 50 years ago, he was asked to give a presentation to some attorneys and law officials because he was one of the few people who really knew anything about the UCC. The UCC didn't come out until 1953, right? Were there slaves here before 1953? Of course there were. Everybody was deemed a slave, especially like if the Patriots want to look at the 14th Amendment, for instance. But Judge Hillman said that after his speech, another judge spoke up and said, you know what? He said, you have repealed everything I've ever known about law. And that's the truth. Everything changed. It became administrative. Period. Became administrative. And so that told me, okay, we need to look in the direction of administrative. And that's what I'm going to get into a little bit when I join with Chris Rice. Really looking forward to it. Rice TV. It's going to be in the description box below. I recommend people always check out description boxes when you watch YouTubes, because people will offer you additional knowledge in there, additional information in there. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't pay attention to the description box. To me, that's the go-to. Just like if you're reading documents or reading a book, you're going to look at the Cliff Notes, or I guess what's called now Cliff's Notes, which is amazing. But you go and look at the resources. And that's one of the things I wanted to do when I really wanted to find the nexus between us and the state. And I wanted to see, okay, what resources are being provided? Where are you guys getting this information at? Are you just dreaming it off the top of your head? Because we have to pay attention to what we're doing. We just can't grab stuff from anywhere. I remember a number of years ago, I was in court, and there was a gentleman ahead of me, and the judicial administrator, also known as a judge, was advising this gentleman as to getting an attorney, how he's going to be represented. And this guy said, "Oh," he said, "I've watched lots of Law and Order. I'm okay. I can do it on my own." Yeah, face smack. And that's what I really expected from the judge. That was the look on the judge's face, was a face smack. It's like, dude, what is wrong with you? You because they have their own arena. Their arena is based on conflict. If there was no conflict, they don't have anything. That should be a big hint to people right there. And when I started looking into UCC and realizing everything was about title, everything was about title and it was about contracts. So where's the contract? We are all operating under a lot of contracts nowadays. And what it really comes down to is correcting some of these contracts. Just like that judge had said that everything he knew about law had been repealed. Well, guess what? Maybe some of our contracts need to be repealed as well. Those are the ties that bind. Anyway, it's probably going to be a couple weeks before it gets posted onto YouTube. I recommend everybody go check out Chris Rice's channel, Rice TV. He also has Rice TV X2, I believe. And he reminds me a lot of where I was at one point, where you were looking at a lot of different avenues, a lot of different ideas. And what I did wasn't following any type of procedure that anybody had laid out or anything like that. I developed the procedure on my own. I realized through looking at all of the conversations like in UCC, what judges were saying, attorneys were saying, that it really comes down to the contract. And you have to establish your contract. It's that simple. Good night, everybody. And hope everybody enjoyed their little hiatus from Facebook. You all shouldn't be on there anyway that much. Pay attention to your groups and stuff. Who cares about cookie recipes or funny kittens? If that's what's taking up your life, that's called distraction. And that's what they throw at you. They throw at you distraction because they don't want you paying attention to information just like this. Good night.